Hey everyone, welcome to another video by Singularity Computers. I've decided to start doing something again that I haven't done for a long time on my channel. Recently I have been focusing mainly on hardware, water cooling and build logs, as most of you will know. But in the past I have actually made a lot of gameplay videos. When I started my channel, that is what I was mostly focusing on. And you know, they didn't have to be reviews or commentaries. I just uploaded, you know, random gameplay. Because I have a NVIDIA Surround configuration which runs at 5760 by 1080, you know, I have a lot of fun, I do a lot of gaming, and I think it makes for some decent videos because a lot of people are interested in triple screens, you know, that are thinking of purchasing them. So I'm going to go back and start doing that again. I'm going to start making more gameplay videos again like I used to. Mainly because people have been requesting more videos. And I can't make a build log video every day. I mean, people really just have very little idea how much time I need to put into one of those videos. Like a single build log video can take me up to 3 days to film and edit, mainly because of the sheer amount of work that I actually need to do on the build to be able to film an entire video. And then, you know, the editing can take up to an entire day, so there is just no way that I can upload one of those videos, you know, every day. So if I'm going to upload videos more frequently like people want, then I need some variation. And as I said, that's how I started my channel, with a lot of variation, as well as, you know, the hardware that I focused on. I focused a lot on gameplay. So I'm going to go back to that, and you know, it can be any game, just random games like this one. This is Alan Wake's American Nightmare. You can pick it up off Steam for, I think it was $15. I actually haven't even played much of the single player yet. I think I've played about 15 minutes of it, so I don't even know a whole lot about the game. This is not a review, this is just a quick look at the game, what it is. This is just the arcade mode actually. It's something that they've added to the game. Instead of having only the single player like the original game, where you had to, you know, jump into the actual storyline to be able to have some fun and kill some enemies, now you have the arcade mode. So, you know, it has nothing to do with the storyline. You just get thrown into a map and have hordes of enemies come at you. The initial easy mode, you have waves, you know, like kind of like Left 4 Dead 2. It stops for a little while and then another wave comes and it's really hectic, and then when it stops, you know, you can go around and pick up ammo and health and what have you. Health is actually the light. You can see I'm standing in the light right now. But this is actually I think it's nightmare mode. It's a lot more difficult. There's no waves. The enemies are just constant. They never stop. And it's kind of a lot harder than it looks, because it's not just about shooting, it's about the light as well. You have to shine your torch on the enemy to basically disable their shield before they will take any damage. If you don't first of all shine your light on them to remove their shield, then they can take infinite damage. So it's a nice little mechanic added in there that makes the game something different, you know, something a bit individual. I think this game is quite creative, and I'm looking forward to actually playing through the single player. At this point in time, I'm not really sure how it's connected because it seems very different, but I guess the story is kind of weird anyway, so yeah, it wouldn't be too difficult to create another storyline and connect it, because there's really no rules in such a kind of far out story. But yeah, you can see here as time goes on, there's just more and more enemies. So the enemies come constantly, but they also increase in their amount and also their difficulty, because in the original game there was really only a couple of types of enemies, but they've added a lot more different enemies now. There's these enemies that like split every time you shine the light on them, so you can just get more and more of them if you don't kill them off. And then there's this really big enemy that is basically almost a one-hit kill on you. And then there's all the smaller ones, and then they've also added a whole heap of new guns. So there's not just, you know, pistols. You've got, you can see here I'm using, I think it's a Mac 10 fully automatic weapon, obviously, and I have a 12 gauge shotgun as well, pump action shotgun. And then as time goes on, there's actually more enemies that you can, more weapons that you can pick up in the cases. I think there's an auto shotgun, and yeah, they've really added some variation to this new game. And there's a lot of content because you have another entire single player, and this is only an expansion. It's certainly not a sequel, so for the price, it's a lot of content and a lot of fun to be had out of it. This arcade mode is great. There's a lot of maps, you know. It's a serious challenge jumping in here. So yeah, anyway, you have to basically survive a certain amount of time. I think it's, I don't know, I think it's 6 minutes, something like that, until sunrise, because the enemies are, yeah, the storyline is that they are the darkness. They come from the darkness, so the light, you know, is what damages them, kills them, removes their shield. So as soon as the sun comes up, all the enemies die. But every time you get down on health, you have to go into the light to heal, as I mentioned. But when you go into the light, all of the enemies respawn, so it makes it a lot more difficult. You can see there's an enemy there. That's the big enemy that I was talking about. You can see now I'm down to basically almost 0 health. I just chucked the flashbang there. You can also see I've been using a lot of flares, but I'm going for some more health now. Almost died a lot of times in this game, actually. One more hit and that would have been it. And that, you know, that was a lot of times. You can see the dodge mechanic there that I'm using. Basically, you just hit shift when an enemy gets close and it goes into slow motion, and you can dodge out of the way. It's really handy when you have multiple enemies around you, because when you're in that dodge mechanic, you can't take a hit from any of the other enemies as well, even if they're, you know, striking. So yeah, it's a good way to get away. That's the splitter that I was talking about. I think that's what they're called, the enemies that split every time you shine the light on them. But you can also see that it runs well at 5760 by 1080 on triple screens, so the game works well on Eyefinity. Well, I'm not sure about Eyefinity, but certainly triple screens. This is NVIDIA Surround. I'm actually running it on Singularity Beast II. Those of you that know that, my personal primary system, I'll put a link on the screen to the build log for the system so that you can get all of the details. But basically, extremely high-end system, Tri-SLI GTX 580s, and a Core i7 3930K, Rampage 4 Extreme overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz. You know, the system is really maxed out, water-cooled and everything. You can see I'm just getting some more health again here. And, you know, despite how high-end my system is, I think I'm still only getting 20 to 30 FPS. It's surprisingly playable at that frame rate. Like, it doesn't look like I'm getting a low frame rate, and I'm not having any trouble with the FPS at all. I guess that's because it is third person, but yeah, I have all of the settings completely maxed out. You can see it's quite a demanding game. So I got into a lot of trouble again there, and whenever you get into trouble when you're surrounded, you just pull out a flare or use a flashbang. Flares are best because they last for a while and the enemies stand back from you. They don't come in and attack. Flashbangs, they can kill a lot of enemies if they are well placed, but until they go off, you still have enemies to contend with. You can see that sometimes enemies double strike, so they hit you the first time and then the second time again it does a lot of damage. So really you can only take hits from one, maybe two enemies if you're really lucky before you go down. You can see now I'm just completely surrounded. There must be 20 of them out there, and I'm having a lot of trouble getting away. I'm only using the light here because I know that it's nearly sunrise, otherwise I wouldn't be going for more health. because obviously they will respawn. So that's it. I thought I'd just give you a look, and this is kind of a new segment or an old segment that I'm going to be starting to do again on my channel. Just because people want to see more videos, and to get more videos I need to add some variation. So there we go, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and favorite if you want to see more.